Hey guys, you're listening to Divine Circle. It's me, your host, Morgan Hardman, and I have today with me a very, very, very special guest, dear to my family's heart, Mr. Dondré Whitfield. He is our life coach and mentor. Dondré, can you please introduce yourself to everyone? Because I know everybody knows you from TV, right, from being the actor, but oh man, are you so much more than that? So please do the honors.
I come into the lives of people, and by the way, the people that I work with are all connected in a very specific way. I don't ever work with people who I don't know on one level or another. I've always said that the people that I work with, like, they pass me around like a joint. like I work with someone, and then someone else says, "Hey, I got somebody that you need to work with," and that's how that happens. So I come into lives of folks that I know, on one level or another as an interpersonal inner fitness coach, because we all struggle on some level or another in trying to figure out how we show up as our best selves. Right. And how do we do that? Right. So if you have a nutritionist is a food coach. They're going to show you what food does for you, what it does to accentuate your fitness, how it will either invigorate you or make you sluggish, all of those things. Yeah. Right. If you have a fitness coach is going to show you what to do in order to have your body look its best, function its best. And so as a interpersonal coach that coaches folks on their inner fitness, my job is to give them the keys to unlock the best versions of themselves from the inside out, your emotional, mental, and spiritual being.
Oh, do you do that and so much more? Because let me just say, because you probably don't even know, we actually had a session last week. And in the session, I was like, because you told me about myself. And so for me, I was just like, I'm very, you probably already know because you're one of my life coaches, but I'm very like set in my ways. And so when you read me like a book and you were just like, you're angry at yourself. And I was like, no, I know who I'm at. I was like, no, I'm angry at this. You're like, no, you're angry at yourself. How are you able to even identify something like that? Because I never would have thought like, yo, you're really mad at yourself because of the situation you allowed yourself to be in.
Right. How
do you even identify that? Like, as a person, how does someone even acknowledge that they're mad at themselves?
Right. It's, what's interesting is that without me even realizing it, I have been in the business of observing human behavior probably since the time I was 10 years old. Because as an actor, which is what I've done as one of my life passions for almost 40 years, my job is to observe human behavior. And then what I have to do is I have to use the camera as my canvas in creating a character, right? And so what I do is I observe human behavior for the sake of being able to reenact it in front of a camera, right? So what I do in terms of my interpersonal coaching is now all I'm doing is I'm further observing human behavior and then putting a mirror up to it to say, this is what it looks like.
Wow.
Right? The first thing that I have to do, like what I do with my sister, is I have to make sure that she trusts me first. So you can't go like a Mack truck and just drive through that door and be like, no, you mad at yourself.
Yeah.
What I have to do is and I had to do this, with Alfred as well, your husband, in making sure that all the folks that I work with, they trust me from top to bottom. First, what I have to do is I have to be the model that they know they can mirror. So I have to walk my life out in a way where they say, oh, this man not only talks it, he actually walks it. Yeah. And then, because we're going to have times as a real coach, as a real trainer, you are going to put the people that you work with in the most uncomfortable positions they're ever going to be in. And they have to trust that the reason why you're putting them in that position is for the sake of themselves, not for the sake of myself, for the sake of themselves. So when you go through those things and I say, and I diagnose that and I say, I think what you might want to examine is the fact that you're actually more angry at yourself than anyone else. The first thing you're going to say is, okay, this must be for a reason. Let me first examine that. And when you start to examine it, truth always resonates. I always say truth is very heavy, right? Because as soon as you hear truth, you can't escape it, right? When you hear it, you go, either that resonates as truth or I can rebuke that. Yeah. But as soon as you hear the truth, you can't run from it anymore. Yeah. And you have to submit to it.
Yeah. And it makes sense because you're always like, put your cameras on. I need to see your eyes. I need to see your eyes. And I'm always like, no, you don't want to see my eyes right now. But it gets you out of your comfort zone, and you got to get uncomfortable to heal.
No question.
To truly heal. And I can honestly say that for those of you that don't know, he's also our marriage counselor, you know, and he's helped me and my husband tremendously in really learning to communicate and learning each other, you know, and what I really battled with was masculinity, right? That's the word, right? Yeah. I was so used to being a single mom for 14 years. I was, in my eyes, the dad, the man, the everything. Handyman. I was the everything. And now, you may not even know it, but like sometimes I'll catch myself like, nope, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to just leave that. Like I even put this thing on right here and I didn't want to. Yes. Oh. I was like, hey, Alfred, can you hold it and you twist it? But you want to know something else I learned from our very first session?
I'm going to cry.
Wait, from our very, very first session. No one in my entire life, and I have been in therapy my entire life, ever picked up on the fact that I only wear all black. That's why I have this jacket on today, Dondré, because I took the black off. I was actually going to wear like a green suit to really make you proud. But I have even stopped wearing black because I'm like, I feel good. Yeah. I need good energy. Yeah. Can you touch on how you even identify that?
Yes. Look. You see what colors I'm wearing right now? I got on my orange. I got on my blue. Like these are life colors, right? You know, when I walked in, is it Nova? Nova. So Nova walked in, their dog. Nova walks in and immediately begins to come toward me. And we just touched on the fact that dogs don't know you, but they know your energy. Yeah. So everything about what you are as a human being is about what energy do I give humanity on a daily basis? Because the energy that you give people, they eat. Yes. Right? You can either fortify somebody or poison them. Right? So I always tell people that you got to be careful about people that you speak to because they will either speak life or death into your existence, right? Energy is about life and death, right? So these kinds of colors, like what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to emote certain energy and I'm trying to receive certain energy. Like when you see me like this, people who are drab in their energy don't want to come anywhere near me because they don't want to be affected by it. Wow. Yeah. I mean, honestly, like you usually attract what you are. Yeah. So if you're attracting very consistent stuff that you find to be poisonous, the first thing that you got to do is you got to examine self. What is it about me that keeps attracting all this poison to me? So when I saw you, I identified you as this beautiful life energy that was in solitary confinement.
Dang, man. You see how deep he gets?
Like that I was like, crazy. My sister has got to get out of here. Wow. Because she's trapped in there. And the reason why she's trapped in there, and it wasn't your fault. Yeah. It was the fault of all of the assailants. And I'm getting goosebumps as I'm talking about it. All the emotional assailants that you've had to experience your entire life put you in solitary confinement because what it did was it it told you in a very distinct way, it's unsafe for me out here.
Yeah.
So now what I'm going to do in order to make myself feel more safe is I'm going to guard my feelings, as you should, as any human being, in order to be able to survive, right? And a part of that is the uniform that I wear. So what I'm going to convey, sometimes it's very unconscious. By wearing all black, I'm conveying, not today.
Yeah.
Don't come for me because I will kill you. Right? Yeah. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, my sister is in solitary confinement. She got to come up out of there.
Wow. Wow. So it's funny because when I was out in LA and I was at the graduations, I made sure I wore a pink suit and I wore a blue suit. So and I was like, I'm not going to my son's graduation or Tiffany's.
That's right.
In black.
In black.
I'm not doing it because I'm not at a funeral.
Period.
Yeah. And this is a celebration.
That's right.
And so I'm the type of person, when I figure out what's wrong with me, I do everything I can to fix that.
Yeah.
I used to be an energy sucker. I had so many friends who genuinely loved the heck out of me, but when they came around me, their energy was sucked and drained. And we were still friends. They still loved me. And you've touched on this before, how you can identify, oh, that's my depressed friend. That's my angry friend. That's my this. That's my that. And hearing people say that, I'm like, yo, that used to be me. That used to be me. And it touches on something that you told me in a session as well, that I actually did a video on recently. And the hits and the DMs that I get, I have to say I can't take credit for it because I just relayed what information I got from you and how it touched me. And what that was you and I had a session with Alfred and you said, how long are people going to allow their past to be a past? Can you please elaborate from Dondré Whitfield's mouth what that meant?
Yeah, it's boy, we allow our past, P-A-S-T, to become our past, P-A-S-S, to do all of the destructive behaviors that we do in life based on the things that have happened. And I touched on it, right? So you being in solitary confinement, based on the things that you experienced from all of the folks who were bringing you high toxicity levels, your past becomes your past to do things that will sort of reenact the toxic behaviors from things that you've experienced. And those things are behind you. But often, look, think of it like driving a car. Do we drive a car in reverse? No. Never. Like if you're driving a car, if you're sitting there and you're driving your car by looking in the rearview mirror, how effective as a driver will you be? Yeah. Right? Because you're focusing on what's behind you. We have to be focusing on what's in front of us, be mindful of what's behind us. That's why we have a rearview mirror, right? So we should be doing life like we drive a car. Yeah. Have a rearview mirror because it's great to inform us about the things that we've already driven past. So deep. But what we got to do is we got to focus on where we're going. We can't be focusing on where we've been because we're going to crash. Yeah. Right? So all of it is about not allowing our past to become our past, to be this toxic person that does all of these harmful behaviors, harms out. First of all the people that we harm, there's no greater harm than the harm that we bring to ourselves. Yes. There's no greater harm than that. Yeah. Like if I harm myself, how good will I be to those around me? If I harm myself, will I be good for my wife? If I harm myself, will I be good for my children? The greatest harm that we bring ourselves is the harm that we bring to ourselves because it affects everyone around us. Yeah. So when I said that to you, when I said, don't let your past be your past, again, what was that? That was truth. And you had to sit there and sit in that and go, okay, I got to grapple with this, man. I got to grapple with this because this is speaking to where I am. And now it's informing me about where I should be going. Diving in deep about the wearing the black, the black and talking about the funeral. We don't realize that takes on a personality of I'm in mourning
Yeah.
over the things that have happened to me,
Yeah.
right? All of those things that people have done to me, that wearing of black is about mourning a loss,
Yeah.
the loss of who I used to be.
Mm.
So now every single day, our job is to figure out, how do I restore and resuscitate myself?
Wow.
Right? So the work that I do with you is really about trying to put the oxygen mask to your face to say, hey, let's breathe. Here's what's going on. We're experiencing this cabin pressure right now because of X, Y, and Z. Here's what we need now in order to make sure that everything levels itself out, so that we don't have to mourn about the loss, but now we can focus about the gain.
Wow.
Restore and resuscitate ourselves.
Wow. I know I heard you talking recently about identifying the enemy. What do you mean when you say that? Because when I hear that, I think the enemy is the devil.
Right.
So when you say that, what do you mean?
Everyone has their devil. So everyone, because we as human beings, we all struggle with something.
Right.
The world teaches us how to identify the enemy, particularly this country. There's an enemy everywhere. Oh, that's the enemy. And then we got to destroy it.
Right.
America is very good at identifying an enemy and destroying it. So we all, when we're struggling as human beings, we all default to that. Okay, where is my enemy? Usually in our minds, we think the enemy just looks like the opposite of what we look like. So if I'm a man, the enemy must be woman.
Yeah. Ooh.
If I'm black, the enemy must be white, right? So everything that looks the opposite of what we look like, that must be my enemy. When really, the enemy usually lies within us, right? So when we're struggling, we gotta look, the key to a healthy life is consistently making sure that we point the finger at ourselves. Yeah. It's too easy to say it's your fault. Okay, so aside from the fact that that feels good or feels better, what does that really do for you? All it does is give you permission not to do anything. Why? Because it's that person's fault, not mine. See, if I say it's my fault, if I'm holding myself accountable, because that's the highest level of accountability. Yeah. If I hold myself accountable, now I got to do something. What do? Identify the enemy within, because once I begin to rectify, and again, we get back to restoring self, resuscitating self. When I do that, I'm better for everyone. Yeah. I have a different experience with everyone based on me elevating myself.
That's big.
So if we identify the enemy within, instead of trying to place the blame on everyone else and calling everyone else the enemy, we will build a more loving community around ourselves.
Wow. That was big. That was deep. I didn't know you were going to go that deep on them, but okay.
Well, you know better.
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, I set myself up for that one. So there was another thing that you touched on in a session, and I want to talk about the things that happened in my session because they personally changed my life. And so I know that they will change yours as well. Purpose.
Yeah.
Purpose. Because I remember you told us straight out, your mission is not to make money. That's not your purpose.
Ever.
And so can you touch on that? What purpose truly is?
Yeah. So,
and the meaning of it.
Yeah. So let's set the tone by saying, oh man, I'm just getting goosebumps in this conversation. So
somebody's life's going to be changed.
Our passions serve us. Our purpose serves others. Right? Acting, I just said, for almost 40 years has been a great passion of mine. But I got a number of different passions. I'm a scuba diver. That's a passion. It's not my purpose. I'm a golfer. That's a passion. It's not my purpose. Right? Acting is my passion, but activation is my purpose. My job is to activate people. I feel like the light company because all day my job is to turn on somebody's light.
Wow.
I see people all day, every day, walking around with their lights dim or completely off. And my job after we have a conversation, after we have an exchange, is to turn that light on.
Wow.
To get them to understand. My question is, why are you here? If you don't know, let's do an analogy. You know I'm good at those. Let's say somebody kidnaps you. Mm-hmm. They put on a blindfold, they tie your hands, they throw you in an unmarked van. You go driving for 35 minutes. You have no idea where you are. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden, the van stops. They pull you out of the van and they give you specific instruction. And they say, you're not allowed to take off your blindfold for 5 minutes. If you take it off before then, you're going to die. So now you're sitting there on the side of the road. You have no idea where you are. You're blindfolded. Your hands are tied behind your back. Disoriented. You have no idea where you are. All you hear now is the van drive off. You wait in your mind for what seems to be 5 minutes, and then you begin slowly trying to undo the tie, take off the blindfold. You look around. You have no idea where you are. There are no identifying landmarks. There's no one around. Okay, now let's examine that. What I just described to you is what the vast majority of people in our world feel like every single day. Wow. They feel isolated. Mm-hmm. They feel abandoned. Mm-hmm. They feel abused. They don't have resources. They don't know where they're going. They don't even know why they're there. Wow. Can you imagine going through life not knowing why you're here, not having resources, feeling abandoned, feeling abused, feeling like you don't know where you're going? What kind of life do you think that will lead to? Not a great one. As soon as people understand their why, as soon as they understand why they're here. Look, when the Most High, and I don't care what you believe in, this is not about religion. It's not about whether you call God, Allah, whether you believe in God or not, whether you just believe in the universe, whatever you believe in, you know that you were created by a particular being. Whatever that being is, I want you to ask yourself this. Why? What was the intention behind my creation? It wasn't to get a job, pay bills, get to the weekend, get drunk, do it all over again. Yeah. Your life has deeper meaning than that. So once you understand why, what the intention was behind your creation, it will unlock the rest of your life. When I understood what my purpose was, it's the kind of currency that no check could ever give you. That's why I said money cannot be your purpose, because that's about you. Yeah. Right? If you're given a platform, now you have to figure out what is the purpose that this platform will now suit. Now that you have you've done all this stuff, you've done all your passions, you now have a platform. For what? Yeah. What do we use the platform for? Mm-hmm. The platform is supposed to be used to serve others. Yes. And once you figure out what that is, you have essentially unlocked the rest of your life.
That's big. Yeah. That's how you broke it down too.
Period.
That is exactly how you broke it down. And it, again, another nugget that changed my life. And I won't even say nugget. It's reality.
It is reality.
It's not even a nugget. It's reality.
Yeah. It's a tenet to live life by.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah. And there was something you said earlier, and I'm going to use that. I'm going to go back and listen. But the light shining. Man. That thing right there. Oh, that is big.
You see it every day.
Yeah, yes. Dim lights. Yeah. And you want to turn the light on like the light company. I love that. I totally love that. So if you hear me say it, I got it. I got it. So I be getting a lot of my nuggets from. So now I want to shift gears, because I remember when I first met you. Well, actually, when I first met you was at Flex and Shanice's 20th anniversary. Shout out to them, because there's my brother and my sister.
And that's how this whole connection came about. So shout out to Flex and Shanice, of course.
So when I first met you for a session, me and my husband, I was like, male versus man. So is this like some male dominating? He's going to be on Alfred's side.
Right.
I don't even want to talk to him. Oh my, here we go. We're going to have a session. Okay, great. But I went in there very vulnerable. And when I saw like who you really were, like you're really about healing. You're not about sides. You're not about, oh, you're right, you're wrong. You're about really, us identifying what part we played in something and, how the partner looks at it.
Yes.
What I want to touch on for every woman out there, what does male versus man mean?
Yeah. So before I get to that, I want to touch on something really important that you just touched on, which is my wife. And look, no human being is perfect, right? And I don't fashion myself to be. Don't claim to be. I am not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. But what I do perfectly is I pursue perfection. I'm never going to get there. I am made of flesh. I can't walk on water. I am never going to be perfect. But my constant pursuit of perfection gets me closer every single day. Right? And so where my wife and I, where we were struggling, at one point mightily in our marriage, we went to a couple of counselors, couple of therapists. And I have to tell you, I felt horrible because I could immediately feel when that person was siding with one of us. Yeah. Right? I am not on the side of a person. I'm on the side of the partnership. Yeah. So I am going to hold lovingly but firmly both people accountable for making the partnership what it was supposed to be. Yes. And you felt that.
100%.
I am not on Alfred's side because he is a man and I am a man. That don't have nothing to do with the price of tea in China.
100%.
We are not doing that. That is not what this party is about. So what you felt was my intention was to make sure that in any session that I ever have with a couple, that they never walk away saying, I feel like you're siding with one person or another. I feel like it's your opinions are biased. Yeah. Based on a sex, based on a gender. Never. And you're not the first person. All of my couples say, and they say that to me. It brings tears to my eyes because I know what it feels like on the other side. Right? So
I've had that happen to me where
it's awful.
Even some of my pastors and my spiritual mentors, where I see know they're siding with,
absolutely,
and I'm like, nah. Bro.
Totally.
No, listen to my side.
And you know that the authenticity is completely out of the window. So now you can't. That environment is unsafe for you. Yeah. Because it's not real. It's not based in truth. All right. So let's move to what you were asking about in terms of the male versus man thing. If anything, what you did experience, if there was a bias at all, is that I'm really hard on the men.
Yes. Yeah, you are.
I am really hard on the men. If anything, it's the opposite.
It is.
It is when you come in, God help you, if you are a dude and you come into my cipher, and my job is to coach you up to be the man that you're supposed to be, bruh.
You know what's funny that you say that? Because there's been times when I'm mad at Alfred and we're in a session, and then I feel bad for him.
Yes.
Because I'm like, okay, I'm not mad at him.
Yeah. Because when we go in the session, like he's gonna get it.
He goes like this.
Yeah. Because I am the drill instructor for manhood.
But we need it though.
No question.
Yeah.
And I have said to him, hey, listen, this is no disrespect, and with love, always.
With love.
This is no disrespect to your wife. But you as the man, you were selected. I said, let me ask you a question. Who's the leader of your house? Every man, it's a setup question. It's a setup question. I set up every brother I've ever worked with. Who's the leader of your house? And I just look away. And they go, I am. Oh, there you go. Okay. So if you are the leader of your house, you got to be more fit than anybody in the house.
Yeah.
Because you are the leader.
Mm-hmm.
I am the leader of my house. Mm. My wife is no shrinking violet. She's from the south side of Chicago. She's been an amazing actress, now an amazing director. No shrinking violet. I did not become the leader of my house because I tell my wife what to do. Mm-hmm. You guys are very similar in a lot of ways, by the way. I didn't become the leader of my house because I tell my wife what to do. That's not going to work. I became the leader of my house because I show people what to do. Yeah. I am the model that the house can mirror. My wife, my kids, the dogs, everybody can safely model or mirror me as the model. Mm-hmm. So my job is to make sure that I'm more inner fit than anyone in the house. So whenever I work with a man or a male who doesn't know that they're a male and I have to matriculate into manhood, my job is to make sure that I get him there as quickly and as efficiently as possible so that he is his most elevated self, because he is supposed to be leading the house. Again, not by telling people what to do, but by showing people what to do. So when you experience a bias as a coach, for me as a couple, it's because I'm harder on the men than I am on the women. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So males look to be served while men look to be of service.
Did y'all hear that? Wait, can you say it one more time?
Okay, I'm going to have to do it again.
Please, do it
that
again.
one right there,
Do it
it
again.
either escaped you or hit you in the gut and you can't breathe. Males look to be served while men look to be of service. On my birth certificate, it says male. You've got male. I am a male. God chose male for me, but made it my choice to become a man. So God made me a male, but made it my assignment to make me a man. Yeah. Males look to be served while men look to be of service. Gigantic difference. Male, if you want to disrespect me, call me a male. That's the B word for me.
Whoa. Wow.
Because I am more than my penis and my pecs.
Whoa. Yeah.
Simply because you see, and this is for my sisters right now, don't get impressed with his pecs, his beard, his accoutrements of accomplishment, nice watch, ring, car, all that nonsense has absolutely nothing to do with him being a man. His paycheck has absolutely nothing to do with him being, whether he has money or not, has absolutely nothing to do with him being a man. It is his acceptance of his assignment that makes him a man. His assignment is to be of service to those around him. That is what makes a man. I tell all the brothers that I work with, this is the hardest job you're ever going to do in your life. I don't care what you do in your life right now. Being a man is the hardest thing you are ever going to do in this life. And that's why I'm so hard on them. Yeah. Because we need more. Our biggest problem in society is that we don't produce enough men that produce other men. Yeah. That's our biggest problem. Our second biggest problem is we don't produce enough women that know how to identify men.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you don't know how to identify a man, how can you possibly choose an appropriate partner for yourself? Oof. So Male versus Man, the book, is not just about giving information and instruction to males in how to matriculate into manhood, but it's also giving information and instruction to our sisters in order to appropriately choose a partner for themselves.
Wow, that is, listen, if you have not read that book yet, let me just tell you, go pick it up right now, today, this second, order it right now on Amazon. It's on every single platform that you can think of.
Barnes
so make
Noble,
sure
everywhere.
You go get that book. It will change your life, woman or man. Go get it. What do you want to say to the people? before we wrap this thing up, what do you want to, first of all, thank you so much.
Come on.
You guys, he came out from LA to do this, and I am beyond honored and just humbled that you did this for me. I'm so thankful because my mission and my purpose is to change as many lives as I can.
Yes.
And that's the mission that I'm on.
And that's why I'm here.
Thank you for being a part of that.
Of course.
Seriously.
Of course. That's why I'm here, because our purpose is our purposes are aligned.
Yeah.
What I want to leave the people with is, listen, we are all instruments of becoming the better versions of ourselves. So you don't have to be me in order to be someone that helps to facilitate someone being better. I always say that there are two different forms of language, right? There is protein and there's kerosene. Protein language is the kind of language that builds people up. Kerosene language is the kind of language that burns people down. So every single day, your job is to give something to someone that they can ingest that will help them, that they can ingest that will make them better, that they can digest your language, protein that will build them up, right? So every single day, you are an instrument to make someone better. You are an instrument to help someone become the better versions of themselves. And in the process of you doing so for someone else, you actually become the better version of yourself by facilitating someone else's growth.
Wow, that was a good one. And I want to leave you guys with something also. You know, for me growing up, it was very difficult when you say therapy or you say go to counseling. You know, I didn't want to tell a bunch of strangers my business because I honestly didn't think they cared. But it actually has changed my life tremendously to be able to have not just a mediator, but someone really dive into the perspective of what you're actually going through. Yeah. Or, you know, what life is like on the other side of that pain. So if you're out there and you're going through things, like I always say, if you're going through it, God is putting you in that season for a reason. So go through it, but don't go through it alone. Don't be afraid and don't be embarrassed to seek help, whether it may be a mentor. Listen, me and my husband are very successful, but that doesn't mean that we don't still need mentorship. It doesn't mean that we still don't need to learn and to have a teacher. And so I encourage you to find yourself either a therapist, find yourself a spiritual mentor, find yourself a mentor, but don't go through it alone. Yeah. Because that's the worst thing is, like you said, to feel confined. Yes. And isolated. To be alone, isolated. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So definitely seek help. Where can they find you?
On Instagram at all Dondre, ALLDONDRE. And Facebook and Twitter is at Dondré Whitfield, DONDRE WHITFIELD. And sometimes, in some very special cases, when people are really in stressful situations or in dire need, they do reach out to me for interpersonal coaching, and depending on what their situation is, then, you know, I get to that. So they can always go to DondréWhitfield.com and, you know, and reach out to me through that. And my assistant Corey is always the one that's on top of it. They never have to, they never have to go through my assistant because they got the, you know, the bat phone. I didn't even know you had an assistant. Like, you got an assistant, okay. They've been spoiled.
But listen, if you personally know me, reach out to me. I'll give you his number. Right. No, I'm just kidding. But thank you, Dondré. You've changed our lives. You've saved our marriage. Let's be very honest. And we are very, very thankful to you. Thank you for coming. Thank you so much to his amazing wife for allowing this to happen, because he is on vacation. So thank you, Dondré.
Of course. It's been my pleasure. Not only my pleasure, but my purpose.
Amen. Thank you.